Yeah, what is up, everybody? John from Tau Tactics here, bringing you another video. Today, we're going to be walking through some units that I would make changes to in the upcoming Balanced Data Slate. Our points are too low already. There are a couple key things that we're missing as an army, so we'll talk about that in the context of units that I think could use a rules buff. Before we hop into today's video, I want to give a shout out to our channel sponsor, Secondhand Geek. Now, Secondhand Geek has done something pretty awesome. They've given me a Tau Combat Patrol to give to you guys for completely free. Now, all you need to do to get entered into this giveaway is to use my affiliate link down below to sign up for Secondhand Geek. Once you do that, I highly recommend checking out the inventory that they have. Every single day it's growing. And also just take a look at your backlog and see if there's anything that, someone else could maybe use that is a project you've pushed out way too far into the future. So, definitely recommend signing up for Secondhand Geek. Use my affiliate code, get in on this Tau Combat Patrol, and start getting rid of that backlog. So the first unit I want to talk about that I think is really underseen in the Tau community, and really would love to see more of, is the Sunforge Battlesuit. So the Sunforge Battlesuit, its biggest weakness, it's twofold. First and foremost, they don't have the full hit rerolls against other monsters and vehicles like the Fire Dragon unit, for example, from Eldar, or the Eradicator unit from Space Marines. Now, the reason that equals us not taking them is because they are typically on a one-way trip, meaning they go out to kill their intended target. Whether or not they kill that unit, they usually die immediately in the clapback. They're not tough enough, even with the 4-up invuln, to survive and get another activation. So I think baking into their datasheet the full hit rerolls would really help out. Their other big weakness, which is reliability. They are hitting on 3s, reeling 1s most of the time, and then wounding on 5s with full rerolls, which is already a kind of swingy into especially invulns. And think of your opponent having stealth or -1 to hit somehow. That really just skews the math pretty heavily for these guys, as you only have 6 shots. So hitting on 4s, reeling 1s means you're hitting 3, maybe 4 times. So I think giving them the full hit rules, slapping them with an extra 15 points, even I would take getting rid of the invuln, because the invuln rarely ever matters. It rarely equals you having enough Sunforge battlesuits left that they do anything relevant for the rest of the game. So my suggestion would be give them the rules, keep them in line with other units that do this job, and bump up their points a little bit. Next, I want to talk about Commander Farsight. So, Commander Farsight is the leader of the Tau army. He, at the moment, is not more powerful, in my opinion, than the other 2 commanders we have access to. So, because he only has 2 shots from his gun, and his rule is conditional, and I think worse than having Assault and Armor of Contempt, I would suggest changing his damage a little bit, giving him Rapid Fire 2 to reflect kind of the lore, right, of Farsight being aggressive and being willing to get up and close into the fight, and also kind of doubling down on that +1 to wound, part of his rule. And then giving him an aura of reduced CP cost to reflect, the fact that he is the leader of the Tau army. Lastly, one thing I've been a little bit underwhelmed by is his damage in melee. So just having access to a unit like Farsight who would be able to kill a 5-man Marine unit or a 10-man Cultist unit somewhat reliably, or at least contribute to that in a meaningful way, I think would be really relevant. And I would happily pay 20, even more points for access to these rules. Next, one thing that Tau doesn't really have access to in our army is precision. Now, the Firesight team does have 3 shots that do have precision, which is cute, but I think when you look at the lack of melee, within the Tau army, and really only 1 unit in Farsight being able to use precision, there is a lack of precision in the army in its entirety. And so you would think that from a lore perspective, an army that spots specific models, specific units for the rest of their army to shoot, that lore-wise, and I think even gameplay-wise, it would make sense to give some access to precision. And I think using the Firesight Marksman team to do so would feels pretty relevant to me. So when this unit observes, attacks allocated to the guided target have the precision keyword. Next, Ethereal. So again, well, I think that the Ethereal running solo is okay. It was cool that they gave him the marker-like keywords that he could guide. I still think, more than anything, Tau wants to use more strats like the rest of the armies within the game. So giving a condition to him getting CP consistently in that he has to go with something like a strike team and put them in their backfield. What I think would be a fair trade. Maybe 5 points isn't enough, but I would like to see him get played more in combination with other units, and then have us be rewarded for taking that combo by getting CP in our turn at the beginning of our turn, so that we can then use it in our the top rounds to do stuff. And then last but not least, one thing that I think is missing from the Tau arsenal, shooting arsenal, is a strength 10 profile. So we have a lot of strength 8. We have the ion hammerheads, we have the ghost keels, we have the riptides currently. And as you look around the meta, you see things like maliceptors, exocrines, fetid bloatrones, forge fiends. All of those units, not only are they better into their intended targets, right? They're better into because of the T5 breakpoint being strength 10, they're wounding all those T5 units on 2s, but they're also just win the firefight against Tau's anti-elite units. So I'd love to see them put one of those Tau units in line, whether it's the Ghost Keel, the Riptide, or the Hammerhead, give them strength 10. I'd happily pay a premium to be more like a DDA, for example, and fit a niche within Tau's damage output that really hurts us into other shooting armies. One other change that I'd like GW to make, specifically around crisis suits, which I would say are our most underutilized part of the army right now, is I'd love to see them get some more mobility. So when I say that, I mean specifically like moving through walls, for example. Right now, you can't really stage crisis suits behind terrain most of the time because your opponent has easier access to you, right? Just moving elite infantry through walls to hit your crisis suit team, and you're in a poor position yourself because you have to move around those walls yourself and get behind their staging runes to hit them, which is usually kind of an impossible task. So we see them a lot of times coming out of deep strike in reserves and rapid ingressing, that sort of stuff. I'd love to see a way, and maybe this would be a good change for something like the Star Scythes, to be able to stage aggressively and move through walls or activate that rule in some way. That's going to do it for today's video. Appreciate you all sticking to the end. If you haven't yet, I would highly recommend checking out Secondhand Geek. Sign up with the affiliate link down below to get in on that giveaway. And thank you to our channel's patrons for the support. If you want to play me in a game of 40k, see my practice games, what I'm playing, how I'm playing it, highly recommend checking that out as well. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.